Trapped on Skaro with no Sonic and no TARDIS, the Doctor must find a way to beat the Daleks and save both Missy and Clara. Good thing the sewers are alive! Get ready for our review today in the Vortex.
Broadcast amplitude at maximum capacity. Transmitting through time and space in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Vortex.
Voices from the Vortex Reviews, Series 9, Episode 2, The Witch's Familiar.
And now we have the second part.
Yes, Part 2.
Part 2.
Dalek Boogaloo.
So here we go, man. We got 2 episodes in, our first two-parter of the season. Lots of cool, fun stuff that happened in this episode.
Yes, for sure.
First off, everyone who's listening to this obviously has watched it. Hopefully, you enjoyed it like we did. I'm going to go ahead out on a limb and say that this was a response to Moffat listening to our podcast and not understanding exactly why he was getting so much crap from us about not having more Dalek episodes.
Yes. This is exactly...
Like, what the hell, Moffat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's finally wising up and
listening to sane voices.
Yes.
Good job, Moffat.
Yes.
Well done.
Well, as most of you know, if you're a regular listener to the show, most of the time Matt and I agree. But every so often, Matt and I disagree. And guess what?
There are occasions of that, yes.
Yes, this is one of those times.
Indeed.
And I won't say unfortunately this is one of those times because it makes for good podcasts. So I mean it's we're still friends. It's not like I'm mad that he didn't, that we have differing opinions. It's just
sure.
that's how it goes. So I loved this second part. I loved everything about it. I would give it 10 out of 10. To me, it was amazing. I loved the story and everything about it, and I'll go into more detail, obviously, but I loved it. But Matt...
I will be the first one to say it. I thought this episode was trash. I thought it was horrid. I love the first part, and I feel like we were cheated out of a good second part. Honestly, that isn't to say that there aren't stuff I like. There's plenty. We're gonna talk about all that first before we go into the reasons why. There's plenty of stuff I liked in this. Plenty of lines that I really liked in this. But overall, I felt like we did not get a good second episode. We did not get a good second week to this season, and I feel like that is... Well, there are reasons. Well, we'll go on that.
Okay.
So things we liked about the episode. Let's do that first. That's a positive note.
Yes.
One of my favorite scenes in this episode, honestly, was the conversation between the Doctor and Davros, and I loved that Davros cries and he opened his real eyes, which is something I wasn't even sure they were like eyes. Like I always thought they had been removed or something. Those were just like
me too.
Caves in his skull.
Yeah. But
apparently he has eyes and he can open them only for the Doctor.
And I mean that's one of those things you think like Moffat just like it's one of those duh things like
right.
of course he's got eyes and he just doesn't open them. It's one of those things. Well, we never said he didn't have eyes. We just that's just what he looks like. So, it's a sort of a genius part on Moffat to think of that. I would never have imagined that he actually had eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like one day we're going to see a Cyberman and he's going to put on a tuxedo and they're going to be like, whoa, why is he wearing a tuxedo? It's like, well, we never said that the Cybermen didn't wear clothes. They're just naked in most of the episodes you'd ever seen.
That's right.
It's like, oh, well, it's a very fair point, actually. I like the top hat and the cane and the monocle.
Yes.
That works perfectly for a Cyberman.
Yes. And the
so
opera
glasses.
It's good
to see the what?
The opera glasses.
Well, so he can better see at the opera.
Yes, of course. And delete
that
it.
That particular Cyberman has terrible cyber eyes.
Yeah.
Delete. I loved Doctor in Davros' chair when he came.
Oh my god! I think that is one of the best things Capaldi has done, Moffat has done, and one of my favorite things in Doctor Who so far is him stealing his chair. Which, like, I didn't realize he didn't have legs, you know what I mean? Like, I assumed maybe he had some kind of, like, really weakened legs, and that was just some kind of wheelchair. But then, you know, you see, like, oh, he doesn't have, like, the lower half of his body, so it was really creepy.
Right.
But then the Doctor's, like, rolling around, twirling, spinning around in the room.
Well, it's like that time when I was younger and I got a Professor Xavier action figure from the X-Men.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to take him out of the chair and have him walk. And, like, I tried to pull him out of the chair. It's like, oh, no, he's bolted in. No, he's forever in this chair. That's Davros. Forever in the chair.
Yes.
Poor Davros.
Yes. It was so great.
All the stuff, all the little references to the Doctor just breaking down with the Daleks you normally assume are Dalek things, like Davros' chair and Davros' eyes and stuff like that.
Yes.
I thought that was great.
And that's the thing. There was a lot of new Dalek stuff in this episode, which is one of the things that I really liked about it. You know, we got new information about Davros, and you know, and even just the stuff about him when he was a kid and all that, and with the Doctor and stuff. That was exciting in the first episode. We got new information about, like, the Daleks and how they work. You know, when Clara was inside, which was cool, and it was like she was saying certain things, but it was coming out as something else, which is really neat. So it's like this is how a Dalek says "I love you" is exterminate. And then, you know, the whole thing with the sewers, the Dalek sewers. So just all this really new Dalek stuff, which is really cool.
Well, and, you know, Moffat has said that if he does a Dalek episode, he wants to introduce something new to the canon. You know, he wants to make it something that's new. And so his first real Dalek episode, we talked about this, were the eye Daleks, the multicolor ones. He wanted to introduce the new paradigm.
Yes.
So the new command level Daleks. The next time we really saw a Dalek episode... they were in, like, the Pandorica stuff. We don't count that.
Right.
But the next time we saw it was really, Into the Dalek?
Asylum of the Daleks.
Oh, Asylum, sorry, yes, Asylum of the Dalek. So we had Asylum of the Dalek that introduces the idea of a Dalek parliament and a planet where they put all the defective that was really cool. Plus it introduced people with the eye stalks.
The Dalek puppets, yeah.
So, like, it introduced a new faction or a new canon to the Daleks. And then, of course, they're there during the time of the Doctor. Again, you don't really count that as much.
Right.
Because the next time we really see the Daleks would be Into the Dalek.
Mm-hmm.
And we go inside and we get to know that a Dalek has its own security systems in there. It's, you know, it's a dangerous place just being inside a Dalek. So I thought that was really, you know, I like that he does give us something new. He waits.
Right.
And when he gives us a Dalek episode, it's something worth watching.
Yes.
It's not just, you know, and now the Daleks show up and I guess we gotta defeat them again.
Right. Like, yeah, I was thinking like Russell T Davies. It was always kind of the same thing. They were just like, they had a plot. Right. We learned nothing new about them. We just had a plot about them and they were gonna, you know, do whatever.
And he added little things to it, but, like, you know, when he did the Dalek, the Dalek Emperor survived the Time War and became God of Dalek. Okay, but it's a bunch of Daleks.
Sure.
Then you get them later on, and there was the Cult of Skaro. Oh, okay, well that is new. That is something different. That was cool, but it was just so they could release a bunch of Daleks.
Yeah.
And then the Cult of Skaro is in Manhattan, and they're making pig people, and they're like, muto, you know, they're just making mutants. It's another Dalek episode.
Yes.
And then Journey's End, when we get, finally we get Daleks with Davros. That was huge. The Davros came back. So, but again, it was the Daleks conquer the universe.
Right.
Moffat wants to change the nature of what it is to be Dalek, and then he wants to add to that mythos. And that's really cool.
So yeah, and if you remember last time, we were talking about, like, we didn't know what happened to we were kind of confused on what had happened to Skaro, and then we remembered that 11 went there. Well, I did a little research. And I looked up. I kind of looked up like the story of the Daleks, like the history going in the last couple of episodes. And I guess, and because this is the other thing too, is like Moffat made those Mighty Morphin Power Daleks, but then we've never seen them really since then. We saw a couple, like maybe in the asylum, like in the audience. But it was like,
well, we saw them. No, we saw them during the Pandorica stuff too.
Yeah. So there was just those 6, right? And then from what I understand is like then they went off. They made more Daleks, which was like the Parliament, which was like in the big ship, and then I guess they went back to Skaro and rebuilt it and made it like a thriving Dalek city again. I guess that's what happened.
Right.
Yeah, and so and they must have done this between Asylum of the Daleks and now, which is plenty of time.
Well, right. Well, and there's. I take a lot of it with a grain of salt, and that the Daleks are doing stuff behind the scenes. I don't think the officer group of Daleks are gone. I think they're off commanding some sort of giant, because you had a command ship that fought the Doctor in Time of the Doctor. You had a command ship that fought against the Doctor and Into the Dalek. So I would imagine each command ship probably has one of those command Daleks on board, the red ones or the white ones, the stratagem Daleks.
Sure.
You probably have the science and the meta or whatever Daleks, the engineer Daleks, on some base somewhere, protected
like Star
by
Trek.
the Daleks. Yeah, well, yeah, no, I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Here's my question though. So they rebuilt Skaro. Again, there's still questions as to really but Skaro was already there. I mean, like, they rebuilt the city of the Daleks from the first Skaro, from the first adventure with the Daleks. Okay, I get that. But why were all those other Daleks there? The reason Dalek casings change are because they upgrade their armor. The Daleks themselves, the things inside, they're producing better armor.
Right.
The original Daleks, which we saw in this two-parter, the original Daleks, the ones with the blue stripe that were silver, they had to use electricity through the ground in order to move.
Right.
It was a casing that could only move around in its own city.
Yeah.
So if you can build armor that doesn't need that can fly, why would you ever go back to that old design?
I don't know. Maybe they were feeling nostalgic. I don't know.
I don't know. It's the only thing I can imagine is this is a really great way to get a bunch of Daleks together in a room.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, but there's almost no reason for them to have had those different Daleks there. But all right, whatever. I will point out though that the Supreme Dalek is definitely a red Dalek, not one of the new command Daleks, but he is a red Dalek,
right?
Which is unique unto itself. You don't generally have red Daleks.
No, and that's what makes him supreme.
Crazy. I really did. I did like that the Dalek, when Clara was talking through it, and it kept saying mercy, and that's what got the Doctor's attention. And I kept thinking, like, they've already done that. A Dalek screamed for mercy when River Song shot it, and the Pandorica opens. But at the same time, the Doctor wasn't there for that. He didn't hear that.
Right.
So that might have been the only time a Dalek has ever used the word mercy.
Yeah.
And the Dalek wasn't there to hear it. So he wouldn't have gotten that. But everyone who's watching this, the Doctor says, well, the Daleks don't know that word. We know they know that word.
Yeah.
We've seen that before.
Well, and
that's not news to us.
Right. And that's great because, when you get to the end, you find out that the Doctor sort of had this conversation with young Davros and sort of implanted that, there's always mercy. And so, like, maybe that's where, when Davros created the Daleks, there was still just, maybe he put in just a little bit of mercy.
Right.
And so that's why the Dalek asked for mercy from River Song, and that's why that one Dalek, Rose was able to sort of convince that Dalek a little easier.
Right.
Back in Dalek. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we looks like we've ditched the sonic screwdriver.
Okay, I have mixed feelings about this because one, I was as soon as Capaldi took over, I wanted them to switch. I wanted them to switch screwdrivers because I felt like that one design that was Matt Smith's thing. So I was like, Capaldi needs something new. He needs something cool. And I guess I'm sad to see no more Screwdriver, but Sonic sunglasses, probably the coolest thing ever. He's basically the Fonz now. Okay, anytime he needs something done, a door open, he's gonna slip on some shades, push a little button on the side, and go, hey. That's basically what's gonna happen.
And I do wonder what the sunglasses, what all they can do. If it's more than just Sonic sunglasses, can they, can he use them to see through walls? Can he use them to, to detect traces of something and see it in real time? Is it kind of like Batman's detective mode in the Arkham video game series? You know, if they do more than just be a sonic screwdriver in glasses form, that's gonna be kind of cool. But it's also a really good gadget. I don't know, like, I love the idea of a screwdriver because it's something that can get broken, it's something that can get lost, it's something he might not have, and it's a magic wand. Magic glasses, not nearly as cool. I feel like magic wand is simply cooler. But okay, I'll go with it. Sonic sunglasses, something new, something different. It might not be the only thing. He might get a screwdriver again, or you might get you might get a bunch of different gadgets. He's all about wearable technology. Maybe he'll get a smartwatch. That's a time watch, which I guess technically all watches are time watches. That's silly of me. So Sonic time watch. I don't know. You never know.
I mean, I think it's neat that he's changing it up. I know a lot of people are kind of like, well, what do you mean no sonic screwdriver? But I think that it will be something different, and it will be this doctor's thing. We had doctors before who didn't even have a sonic screwdriver, who didn't even use their sonic screwdriver very often. So it's not going to really be that big a deal, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, 6 and 7 didn't have a sonic screwdriver at all.
Yeah.
So, and nor did 1.
No, not at all.
I'll tell you one of my favorite parts. Honestly, Missy dancing when the Daleks were saying, "You will tell us, you will tell us."
Yes.
I loved watching her dance.
I love that sort of. It was almost like she was conducting, conducting them. Yeah, I loved that sort of. You guys are all super serious, but I'm just gonna be as ridiculous as possible.
Exactly. Because it's Missy. Because it's the Master. That's what they do.
Yes.
I'm glad that we're gonna see. The season looks like it's gonna address why he ran away from Gallifrey.
Yeah.
Which possibly is what's on the confession dial.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that came back. That confession dial.
Yeah, maybe the penultimate episode where it's just him.
Yeah. Possibly.
But yeah, the idea of a Time Lord prophecy, that there would be a hybrid of some sort, that maybe that's what he's running away from.
Right. Yeah, that was kind of. I thought that was really.
What could it possibly mean?
Yes, I thought that was really interesting when Davros brought that up. Sort of that. Like, you never said the reason you ran, and we all just, well, of course, we all just assume. And that's one of those things, Moffat likes to take something that we already are assuming, and then he's like, well, here's maybe the answer. Something that we all just kind of take for granted. And he says, well, no, but have you ever thought of it like this? That kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, did you figure out the meaning of the titles to these 2 episodes?
You know what? I was hoping you did, because there's no... Okay, so Magician's Apprentice. Okay, I was assuming, they called the Doctor Magician, so maybe it was that other guy, and maybe he would have had more to do with the story. But then it turned out to be Davros, and then they went to Skaro, and it was like, well, that's out. And then the witch is familiar. Honestly, I have no idea. I don't. I think maybe, and this is my guess, is that these 2 titles were just a red herring, so that we did not know that this was going to be a Dalek episode. Because most Dalek episodes are the blah 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 of the Daleks, or the Dalek blah blah blah. So maybe this was all just a joke. Like maybe, I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody out there who could make some connection, but
the Magician's Apprentice. The Magician's Apprentice makes more sense than the Witch's Familiar. The Magician's Apprentice is referring to two things. First off, a magician and a witch both exist in essentially the same time. They exist in the same kind of concept in the human memory.
Sure.
They're both magic users, so there's both fantasy characters. They're not real. Usually they're characters of great power or wisdom. A magician is usually associated with the ideas of Merlin, who guided, in folklore, guided King Arthur to become king and how to be king, sort of the wise, and it's where Gandalf stems from. And then a witch, of course, is not just a female version of it, but is in mythology and in Americana at least, is considered with a negative denotation, that a witch is crazy. A witch uses her power to harm others or to destroy what other people believe in or see or feel, is usually a villain of some sort. So if that being the case, if we look at it like that, the Magician's Apprentice, the magician they're referring to, of course, is the Doctor. The first episode is about the Doctor. It's about what he has to do, where he has to go, why he has to go there. So that we're speaking about the magician, the first episode was about the Doctor. The Witch's Familiar could be referring to Missy. Then Missy is the witch. She is also the powerful character, the magical character. She is the best friend, the Time Lord, but the crazy one and the villain. And if you think of a magician having an apprentice, that would mean the magician has a sidekick, someone the magician is training to become like him, which is Clara. A witch's familiar is a pet that the witch keeps in order to either enhance her power or to use as she sees fit, and that, of course, for Missy, would have been Clara. So both these titles are probably referring to Clara, and specifically the people she's with in those two episodes and what the episodes are focusing on. Or it's a complete red herring, and they didn't want anyone to know this was a Davros and the Daleks episode, so they came up with really funny titles that everyone would go, ooh.
Ooh, it's King Arthur times.
Oh, but it's not.
Oh, no.
It's King Davros time,
yes.
And what else?
I like that explanation. That really, it matches and it works. I feel like it's not very obvious. That's kind of the B story. Clara is kind of the B story in this whole thing. So it's kind of strange to have a title based on the B story, but I could see how that would match. So, good work.
Right. Thank you.
Answers. We got answers to previous questions kind of we had in the last review. Mainly some of my big questions were, like, how did some people survive? We didn't really get an answer to how Davros survived or how the Supreme Dalek survived, but we did get an answer to how Missy survived. So, which I thought was pretty neat, and I love that first scene where she's telling the story. And the Doctor uses the same energy as the weapons, and then so it looks like he gets disintegrated, and so that's how they escaped at the end, and then that's how Missy escaped when the Brigadier shot her. So. I liked that. I liked that there was an explanation, and it was simple.
I agree, and that's the thing about Doctor Who. Like, we've kind of said it before too. No one ever dies. They don't. That's not the point. Yes, this is a 52-year odd experiment in science fiction and writing and continuity, so it's kind of easy to be like, oh, it's Stavros again, or oh, it's the Master again. How did they not die? Well, they didn't, because we got to write them into an episode in 4 seasons from now. But, the Master is phenomenal at teleports and at escaping, is the great escape artist. The Master could have just been the villain with the twirling mustache. And that's Missy is no exception to that. How did Davros and the Supreme Dalek survive? Because they were both on the Crucible when it was being destroyed, and they had a teleport. Sure, why not?
Sure, yeah.
I'll accept
that
makes
it.
Perfect sense.
Yeah.
They escaped because they escaped. I escaped somehow. Let's go. And how to miss it. I like that they gave an explanation for Missy's escape, because they gave it an explanation for Missy's escape and then Missy and Clara's escape. And there are questions I have. Why the Doctor didn't recognize that, I don't know, but
sure,
we'll get into that in just a few minutes here. But no, it was nice to see that at the very least they were giving. It wasn't just, and then the Master showed up again. Ha 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 ha.
Right.
Okay. Like he did, like Missy did last time. How did she escape the Time War? How did she escape Gallifrey? Nobody knows. No one knows.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's all going to come back down to Prisoner Zero. It's going to be that'll be the answer. Last episode Moffat has on there, and then they're like, "Oh, hey, Doctor, what was up with that Prisoner Zero? Oh, didn't I tell you? It was the Master." And that'll be the end. I don't know why that's who the new Doctor is, and he speaks like that, but that's how it'll end. Zing. No, but thanks. I don't know. It is cool that we got those answers, though. I do enjoy that. So,
yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
And a return of the hostile action dispersal system.
Yeah, the heads.
The head. As not seen since the one with the Bill Skaldak.
Yeah. Yes, Cold War, yeah. Crazy Bill Skaldak.
Cold War.
Yes.
Crazy Bill Skaldak.
That's right.
So tell me what you liked about this episode.
Okay, well. I really enjoyed, the performances in this episode were phenomenal. Props to Capaldi, Jenna Coleman, Michelle Gomez were amazing. Julian Bleach was incredible. I mean, give it up for Nicholas Briggs in there as all those Daleks. I mean, just everybody in this episode was at the top of their game, actor-wise. I mean, I feel like every performance was amazing. I loved everything that was sort of new about it. All the new sort of stuff we learned about the Daleks, the stuff with the sewers, and I loved the sort of the emotion of the story, and I really felt like this story felt like a classic Who episode, and I don't know if it was just like the Doctor like strangled in the wires and like kind of almost like he was being electrocuted, but it was very Tom Baker, like it was very Fourth Doctor, and it was almost like. I think the big thing that made it really classic Who and Tom Baker-ish was it was like at first the Doctor had the upper hand, and then Davros had the upper hand, but then Doctor got the upper hand back, and then Davros got it back, and then at the end, then the Doctor had the upper hand. So I really liked that sort of back and forth. It really felt like classic Who. And one of the things that made me really excited while watching this and really nervous and on the edge of my seat was I felt like the stakes were so high in this. When they were stealing the Doctor's regeneration energy and putting it into all the Daleks, I was like, holy crap, what is going to happen? I couldn't even come up with guessing what was going to happen. Daleks with now they have some Time Lord DNA in them, or whatever that was going on. I was blown away. I didn't know what was going to happen. So I felt like the stakes were high, and I don't feel like they've been that high in a while. Capaldi's last season, all the threats he had to solve, the biggest one was just Missy, with the Cybermen on Earth, and he had a lot of help. This was it was just him. And he had super Daleks that were being formed, and that it was going to cause so much trouble. And I just felt like that it was so much more exciting than in the past. And so I loved how this episode made me feel when I watched it, and I loved kind of all the answers we got and all the twists and turns it took. and some of the great parallels they made. When Clara got into the Dalek, I instantly thought of Asylum of the Daleks. When Oswin was put into the Dalek and made into a Dalek. So, just some really great stuff. All of that stuff put together made this really great, and I liked how it wrapped up, where we were from the first part. So that's what I really liked about it.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair assessment of the episode.
Sure. I know you have other thoughts.
Yeah, I thought it was crap.
Well, that's not what you said earlier, but
no.
But
Okay,
sure.
okay. So let me start by saying this.
Your
a
your
fun
attitude
episode.
gets worse and worse as this goes along. Like, you were like, well, it wasn't that great, and now you're like, it's crap.
Right. let me say this, okay? It wasn't a bad episode. Okay, it was fun to watch.
Sure.
It had a lot of really great moments. We talked about a bunch of cool stuff. It's got some great quotes that we're gonna talk about here in a sec. But I have a huge problem with two things. The first was I felt like nothing in this episode really mattered. The big pitch for this episode is that Davros has this very human moment with the Doctor, and he says, this is, he cries and he says, this is how I feel, and I'm dying and I'm scared, and help me, and let me just see a sunset or a sunrise. And the Doctor sort of responds to that. The whole thing at the end is that the Doctor is supposed to respond to this because it's a part of some elaborate plan, to get the Doctor into this one particular spot and use regeneration energy. The reason why I'm disappointed with that, and I don't think that was a good pitch for this episode, is because it didn't matter. It took up 30 minutes of the episode, and we knew going into it was a trap. We knew that Davros had this plan from the beginning. We saw the scene with him telling Colony Sarf, all right, prepare for the Doctor, prepare the trap, so well, my mustache. And then the Doctor walks into that room. He had the Doctor captured. So you feel like you knew that anything Davros said, you couldn't take at face value, you couldn't believe, you couldn't trust. So it was trying to get you to feel an emotion when none of it was real. And I believe that. I don't think Davros said anything in that conversation other than his need to know why the Doctor ran away. I don't think any of the him crying and him trying to be connected with the Doctor, I don't think any of that mattered. I don't think any of that was real. That was all just an act to get the Doctor to do the thing he wanted him to do, because as soon as the Doctor agreed to do it and walked over, and you just see Davros sitting there and he just starts laughing because he knows he did it. He got exactly what he wanted. The mastermind figured out how to get the Doctor into the trap. And of course the Doctor knew it was a trap and was playing along the whole time because he didn't care. He knew exactly what he was going to do, and he knew the Daleks in the sewers were going to become super powerful and overtake the other Daleks, and so we let it all happen. So I felt like for 30 minutes, I was trying to be tricked into believing that there was story when there wasn't story. On top of that, you have, as a part of this, you have Missy and Clara. I don't get what they were trying to do. What was her great plan? They go through the sewers so we can introduce the audience to the idea that there are Daleks in the sewers. Okay, fine. They had to steal a Dalek uniform, a Dalek suit, put Clara in the suit. To what? To what end? They went up the elevator, went down a hallway, walking right into the throne room or whatever where the Supreme Dalek was, which we have to assume was their plan, because that's what Clara couldn't figure out what Missy wanted to do anyway. Missy was the one that says, "I'm the great, I'm a Time Lord. Take me to your leader, haha!" Just to walk into that room. Why did they need the Dalek? And the Daleks were looking for Clara. They heard the Doctor in the sewer tell all the Daleks, "All I want is Clara, bring me Clara." So they could have just walked into the throne room. They could have just said, "Oh, I'm right down here. It's me, it's Clara." And why did any of it need to happen? Because they had to fill 35 minutes. They had to get everybody into a particular spot so they could have these big moments at the end. And I feel like we were cheated out of an episode because of that. Moffat, this is the second part. Moffat said that the reason he wanted to do two-parters this year, which I hate two-parters, it's stupid. The reason he wanted to do two-parters this year, was because he felt like it was too formulaic. Which, by the way, I just want to point out, literally a season and a half ago, he decided, we're going to do an entire season of no two-parters. It's just going to be, every episode will be like a little mini-movie. Season 7. Okay, cool.
Right.
That was really awesome. Thanks. Did you run out of ideas for another season of that? Because you did a really good formula that I thought worked really well. So he says, I don't like the formula. I don't like you thinking, it's been 35, 40 minutes into the episode. Now we'll hear the music and the doctor will save everyone. Guess what? You did it in 2 episodes. You gave us not 45 minutes, you gave us an hour and a half of, the music's playing, now the doctor's going to save everyone. You didn't accomplish anything but waste 2 weeks of my time that could easily have been 1 week, and we could have had a second episode of other stuff happening. And if this entire season is going to be 2 episodes that should have been 1, just so Moffat can say, ha 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 ha, look how clever I am, I'm through with you, Moffat. Like, don't do this to me. This was a great idea for an episode, but I didn't need 2 weeks for it. I didn't need you to waste my time on stuff that doesn't matter. That's how I felt about this episode. And if this is Moffat's plan, then somebody needs to slap him across the face and ask him what he does with his time. Because seriously, folks, he's been writing the same season of Sherlock for 3 years, and he doesn't even write half of the seasons of Doctor Who. What does he do? I swear to you, he listens to our podcast and does nothing else. Because the dude literally doesn't work. He takes 7 days out of his life to write some scripts, and then the rest of the year.
And it's just our podcast.
It's our it's backlogging our podcast, thinking, why do these Americans hate me so much? This is how I felt about this. I was disappointed. I felt like it shouldn't have been episode 2. Like, this could have been episode 1. This all could have been in one big episode right off the bat, and then we got a different episode in episode 2. I don't want to see 2-parters. I don't want to do the next 2 weeks. I don't. I gotta wait 2 weeks and then I get to see Maisie Williams. So I have to. I have to go through 2 weeks of a 1-week story, which I'm not entirely sure I'm down for because I really don't care about an underwater sea base with ghosts. But okay, we'll give it a shot. Why not?
Sure.
But if this is what it's going to be, if this is going to be every 2 weeks is going to be this, what could have been told in one, I just got cheated out of half a season of Doctor Who. So, there we go. That's why I didn't like it. But it's a really great episode. I mean, it's
sure it is. Yeah, right.
Lots of good moments. I was really happy with it.
All right. I understand your concerns. Yes. I don't know. I choose to fill in the blanks with my own explanations of why people were doing things that seemed like maybe they didn't need to do them. There's a lot of, you could say, well, they didn't know, maybe Davros didn't know that the Doctor was going to do this, and obviously maybe the Doctor didn't know that, he didn't realize at first, I could use the sewers or whatever, so I don't know. I think, I'd like to think some of that at least some of that emotion was genuine. They have known each other for so long, and they have kind of been sort of the two battle of the brains, these two sort of different ideologies, going back and forth. So I'd like to think some of it was the same. So I don't know.
You're talking about a character whose motivation in life, literally the last time we saw him, was the destruction of all life throughout time and space except for him and his Daleks. A man whose sole purpose has been genocide since the day we met him.
That might be the problem.
I don't think there's a human bone in Davros. Well, I mean, yeah, of course, there's not a human bone in Davros. He's a Khalid. I mean, I don't think. I don't think there is humanity. I don't think there's kindness. I don't think there's anything in him other than self-serving annihilation of others. And every story with Davros has proven that. There's never been a moment where Davros is... I mean, at least with the Master, when John Sims played the Master, there were a couple of moments where Sims would... the Doctor would be talking to him, and Sims would have that look on his face like he was really, truly trying not to be crazy. When Anthony Isles played the Master, there were moments, even though he was over the top and campy and crazy, there were moments when he even recognized there were limits to himself.
Right.
And then when you go all the way back to Delgado playing the Master with Pertwee, even their back and forth, there was still like an understanding. There was still sort of a cat and mouse game, but he wasn't crazy. That's a character who has proven to me that it's possible. Like when Missy goes, "Oh, Doctor, what have you done?" when the Daleks start regenerating. Like, I actually felt like Missy really didn't want the Doctor to have done that. 10 minutes ago, she was selling out everybody in the universe to the Daleks so she would survive. But at that moment, I can honestly believe that the Master might have thought, maybe that's too far, maybe we shouldn't be giving the Daleks this power. I can never believe that Davros would care. Right?
Right.
And when has he ever cared about anything? He didn't even care about himself. He gave himself to the Daleks so they could rebuild their army and be crazier than they ever were. The Daleks ripped apart his body and took his cells. And he's totally cool with this.
It's all good.
He's like, I'm chilling in my chair. What? I'm Davros. Oh, 2 Time Lords? Zappity zap. Adana? Zappity zap. Haha! Nothing can defeat me now. Nothing and no one. As I paraphrase Journey's End.
Yes.
For everyone listening.
And now, Matt performs Journey's End abridged.
I'm the Doctor. Wait, no, that's the wrong voice. I'm the Doctor. What do I do? Can't find my friends. Hey, there's the girl I love. Uh-oh, I've been shot. I'm Davros. I want to take over the universe. Nothing can stop me. 2 doctors? Nothing can stop me. 3 doctors? Okay, that might be able to stop me.
What?
I'm the Doctor, and I've saved the universe. Say goodbye to everyone I care about. The end. That should be a show. Snooch. Alright, so, anyway.
Alright, so, we have differing opinions. It's alright. It's okay.
It's okay.
But one thing we do agree on is some of these lines, which were one of my favorite things of this episode, is how funny this thing was. There were so many funny parts of this episode. Missy was, I thought Missy couldn't even be better than she was last episode. She was even better. It's just like she gets better every time.
Buddy, the term you're looking for is on point.
Yes,
she was everything
on
about
point.
it.
Yes.
Yes. Some of my favorite quotes, Missy right off the bat with he's being stalked by about 50 android assassins. I may be rounding up. I just love her audacity. Maybe rounding up, but he's the Doctor. Right?
Well, yes, and I love that scene at the beginning, and I love the part where she says, as this Doctor, I don't know which Doctor it was, and I loved that where it was like it started with Baker, and then he went behind the pillar, and then it was Hartnell for a second, and then it came around and it was Capaldi. That was so cool. I love that. But then the line that accompanies that little effect where she says, "Oh, they're all the Doctors to me, so let's give it to the eyebrows."
The eyebrows. I love her. I love her in the throne room, and she walks up to the Supreme Dalek, and you're my secret favorite. Don't tell the others.
Oh yes, I loved that line. That was so good. Oh man, that was that. I think that was my favorite line of the whole episode. Was that one right there?
The Doctor being in the chair got 2 of the best lines of the entire episode.
Oh yes.
We're right when he says, "Admit it. We've all had this exact
nightmare."
They backed up too.
Yes. And of course, anyone for Dodgems was good. It was like, that's so great.
They all shoot at him, right? And he survives, of course. It doesn't kill him, and he says, "But the real question is, where'd I get the cup of tea?" Answer: I'm the Doctor. Accept it.
Yeah, and it was great.
Basically,
he was doing that thing in this episode where he's like, question, whatever, proposition, answer. He's kind of doing that little talk, that little kind of thing that Capaldi has kind of been known for a little bit. So I like that.
Well, Matt Smith did that, and that was the Pandorica speech.
Yeah.
First question of the hour is, who's got the Pandorica? Answer: I do. Next question: who's coming to take it? Because he doesn't need them to answer. They're not there for any reason. They're just set dressing. He's got the show now.
Yes. I really loved the just the best pun, I think, on Doctor Who ever is Dalek Supreme, your sewers are revolting. So corny, but so good. Just perfect. And it goes along with all those...
funnier Doctor.
Yeah. It goes along with all those really corny jokes he was telling in the first part, when he got off the tank and all that. And then I really love after Missy, she kind of pokes the holes in that Dalek and the stuff gets in, and the Dalek kind of, explodes a little bit, and she's kind of shielding Clara, and she goes wee when it blows up. It was just perfect.
Well, I think the last quote from this episode absolutely was the best. I'm not sure that any of it matters, friends, enemies, so long as there's mercy, always mercy. Which is exactly what this show is about. Doctor Who is all about how can you be a better person. And is it just me, or does anyone else desperately want like a Lone Wolf and Cub style web show now of just the Doctor and Kid Davros wandering through Skaro together? Like, that would be the greatest little show ever.
That would be nice.
Like, think of the adventures they get into walking on the battlefield.
Yeah, I think that just that just supports our desire to have a child companion. You know what I mean?
Not like while Moffat writes it, please.
It was kind of fun in the Forest of the Night, when he was talking to that little girl at the beginning. So I think it would be a good fit. So we know Jenna Coleman's leaving. Maybe a kid, that would be fun.
Something Davros, I'm telling you, he'll be the next companion.
There you go. All right. Well, final thoughts.
The first episode was absolutely amazing as an opening episode, and this one for me at least, it felt a little flat. The attempt by Davros to be sympathetic was never really believable. We knew he had a trap set up with Colony Sarf there.
I think that was the problem too. I think if they hadn't had that little part at the beginning, and where we knew that we saw the little eyes on the rope,
right.
I think maybe we would have believed it at first and then not. Yeah.
The banter between Missy and Clara was funny. Why did Missy need a Dalek to get Clara there in the first place? They heard the Doctor asking for Clara. They could have just walked in. It was just a stalling tactic to bide for time. The Daleks were looking for Clara. So with some rather large plot holes and an overall message that the story told in, 1 and 2 minutes near the end, the episode felt a little stale to me. However, the message that they tell is about mercy. It's a message about hope. And maybe that really is what this whole show is about. So, maybe bad execution, but great idea, and a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch.
So you're going to show Moffat some mercy, is what you're saying.
Let me tell you something, okay? I have that in my vocabulary because when I was a child on a battlefield on Skaro, yes, I'll show Moffat a little bit of mercy on this one.
Well, I thought it was amazing. I loved all the new stuff about the Daleks we got. Incredible performances by everybody. It felt very classic Who, which I loved. Some of those tones of it. And it really felt like a Tom Baker story, kind of a Fourth Doctor kind of thing. I loved the back and forth between Clara and Missy, and and the Doctor and Davros. It was all really great scenes with those two pairs together like that. And just this episode was really exciting, really high stakes and great stuff. So I loved it.
Calculating. Voices from the Vortex give The Witches familiar. 9 out of 10.
Well, now it's time for our favorite segment. Oh my god, that promo.
Okay, so I'll be the first one to say it. It does look kind of cool.
Oh my god, the promo?
On a sea base.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look bad. I'm worried because I feel like it's another one. It's another story where there's a crew and they're getting picked off one by one, and I know that's a Doctor Who trope, but I think it's my least favorite trope of Doctor Who. The crew in some kind of base, and there's some kind of extraterrestrial threat that seems like maybe it seems supernatural at first or whatever, but then it's really... So, I don't know. But, I'm excited to see where they take it. It looks good. If the writing and the quality of the show is as good as the last 2 episodes, then I don't think I will be bored, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite Troughton stuff that they did was always he landed at a base somewhere, and there was a crew on the base, and then there were monsters attacking the base, and, people had to figure out what to do and how to defeat the monsters to survive. But they never believed the Doctor was someone that they could use for help. That was my favorite thing. Every Ice Warrior, every Cyberman that Troughton faced, they went through that. I actually, a little place in my heart for the base and crew who get picked off one by one scenario.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite stuff, because I love that, I love that murder mystery feel that, we just arrived at a haunted mansion with, there's 7 of us, and let's all go explore, and you get to find out what happens,
Right, yeah.
I like the suspense of it all. I like seeing who goes first. And I don't know, it's been a while since we've had this particular story. They didn't have something like this in season 8.
Possibly
they had the
Last Christmas, maybe, but that's
yeah. That was a little different.
But not really. Not really. Yeah.
They had Mummy on the Orient Express. Was the closest they got.
Yeah.
I would almost say Kill the Moon, but that didn't really count. There wasn't enough people, and everybody survived.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, except one guy.
Yeah.
Mummy on the Orient Express, because they're kind of exploring and people are dying, and you don't know who's going to be next. But really, we haven't seen something like this in season 7. We haven't seen this since Journey to the Center of the TARDIS.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, something like that.
Oh, no. What's the one with the Cybermen?
Oh, yes.
Nightmare in Silver.
Nightmare in Silver, possibly. Yeah, that's kind of... Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. It's Doctor Who. It's new Doctor Who, so I'm very excited about it. I just hope it's not more of the same. I hope there's some kind of twist, that makes this different and more exciting. So, which I'm sure there will be.
Well, it'll have the best twist. It'll have the best twist of all, my friend. You'll have to use the sonic sunglasses.
Yes, those were in the trailer. So it was like, that leads us to think, is this his new thing? He's going to have these permanently. So we'll see how that goes.
I hope that he changes the sound effect, like he can download ringtones for it, and one of them is ah! So he can be holding him, and he can say something like, "We have to get off this base before," and he'll turn right to the camera and say, "The ghosts come out," and he'll put the glasses on, and they'll go, "Wow!"
That'll be CSI awesome. TARDIS.
CSI TARDIS. That's awesome.
CSI Underwater Base.
Underwater Base.
So yeah, anything else in the trailer? It's all pretty standard stuff. The ghosts are
running around,
and they're all running around. I like we still have this sort of thing at the beginning, or Clara's like, I want an adventure, I want something fun, So that's kind of it's kind of silly, but
is it just we didn't see the inside of the TARDIS for 2 episodes?
Well, I think it kind of, we got to see it for a split second when it blew up in the first episode, but I know that there's we didn't get a good look at it. I know that there's some new stuff, and I'll be excited to actually, hopefully we get to see that this time. Round?
Well, we didn't get to spend any time in the TARDIS, and
it's a
the
bummer.
Next episode in the trailer, it looks like we will, because she's sort of hanging out at the door talking to him as they're hanging around in the TARDIS. So that's cool. I don't know. They made a big deal about they're kind of doing a little bit of redesign, not redesign, but adding more roundels and adding darker lighting, and we didn't. It's been 2 weeks. I didn't even realize until just now we didn't really see the TARDIS.
Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone?
Till it's gone.
That was really cheesy. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm just worried Moffat's going to kill the TARDIS next.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Don't
do it. Listen to this podcast. Don't do it.
Right.
All right.
Well, that's it, you guys. I mean, we're excited. This season is going strong so far, in my opinion, I guess.
I agree. No. I agree. I just happen to also disagree and think the exact opposte. But
sure.
That's okay.
Okay. All right, guys. All right, stay tuned.
We'll have this. Us.
Yeah, we'll see y'all next week. For Under the Lake.
Return. For Under the Lake. Into the Vortex.
Goodbye.
This has been another Voices from the Vortex review, Series 9, starring Matthew Whitecamp as Matt the Time Lord, Taylor Davidson as Taylor the Time Lord, and Danielle Davidson as the TARDIS. All views expressed are the opinions of the two dudes from Gallifrey, and as such should be taken extremely seriously. Follow Voices from the Vortex on all social media, including Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter. If you have any questions regarding the podcast, please email us at voicesfromthevortex@gmail.com. Doctor Who and all related material is copyright BBC. No infringement of copyright is intended. All originally written material is fan fiction of a satirical nature. Please, Mr. Moffat, don't sue. See you next time in the Vortex.
Temporal flight engaged. Returning to the vortex. End of transmission.